January the 10th, 2023. As we just had our second X flare in the last 2 days. This was an X1. When you get into the X flares, they're very serious. The difference in this one is, and let me point this out, we've seen a flare from the sunspots here, and that you see the glow from, and here. This is a new one that's coming around the same side of the sun as everything rotates to the right. Now we have 4 sunspot areas that are capable of X flares. This one lasted a little longer, and if you look right here, guys, in this section, it shows the coronal mass ejection was catapulted off the surface of the sun during the X flare. The good thing about it is, because it's not directly Earth facing, we should not have an impact from this one. But as they're saying that this region appears to be in a growth phase, and that's all of the sunspots. There's multiple eruptions and explosions going on. This was the strongest one today. But again, the CME that you're seeing here is not Earth facing. The ionization effect in the upper atmosphere, the radio blackouts did occur. Now the map in the bottom right, as we were looking at the sunspot or the X flare from today, shows that much of Central America, most of South America, this goes up into almost the Great Lakes in the U.S., this red area, that is where we had the ionization of the atmosphere because it was an X flare. Radio blackouts, and I guarantee you, and I know from dealing with our local police department today, and we were looking for a bandit, and we're also reporting other animals that are being abused, that they were having problems with their database transferring from the local to the national database on their reports. So more than likely, a good bit of North America saw problems at this time with any communication, airlines or whatever. But that's what an X flare does. And guys, on our website at bpearthwatch.com, it's a very easy way to track these events, because in the last book of the Old Testament, it talks about the sun and what happens and the ashes that occur on this planet. It's very interesting and it's very telling, and it's called Shemesh. When it says the sun, it is not S-O-N, it's S-U-N. It's important. But if you come here, bpearthwatch.com, scroll down on the left, you'll see links from around the world. A lot of it's space telescopes, earthquakes, information, volcanoes, National Weather Service, hurricane information. But come down to the Solar Dynamics Observatory. Also, you have the stereo satellites, the Soho LASCO satellites. But let's start with the SDO. And all of these give us an Earth-facing perspective of what's happening on our star. Click on SDO. Now we're going to go back to the 9th and look at images up to the current time. We'll let it go back a couple of times. First, you'll see the sunspot that we were talking about yesterday here. Then today, you'll see one up here on the new sunspot and a coronal mass ejection. Here we're starting on the 9th. Sunspot will come from the eruption of the X1.9 was there. You're going to see one here with the CME out in front of it. Right there. Check it out. Let's back that up and take a look at it. Here is the sunspot that just gave us the CME with the X1 flare. Play this forward. Next one, you'll see the flare, and then you're going to see the CME that's associated with it. Back that up. There's your CME. Go back once. There's your flare, CME. Look at that. It's amazing. So as this thing turns Earth-facing, along with the other 3, we're going to have to pay attention to it. There's like 4 or 5 explosions at a time now occurring from these different sunspots. We're concentrating on the X flares because they're the strongest, but even a strong M flare can cause a CME that can throw a lot of this solar material towards our planet. So now it's turning broadside, just like the old battleships, and we're going to have to pay attention to it. It's interesting because I think I mentioned the last book in the Old Testament talks about the way that God uses this to stop a lot of problems. And I think this short chapter is very key because, again, we're going back to 5G control, satellite systems that wrap around our globe that will not only block human resonant frequencies that are normal, what I call God frequencies, that are in the frequency of prayer and meditation, but also the control factors, guys. And that has to do with all the new 5G systems that you're seeing on telephone poles and street lights. But how will that be stopped? It will be because you're going to see a CME cause a massive electronic magnetic pulse or an electromagnetic pulse called an EMP. All of this is going to be shut down. If you watch the channel, it was about a year ago that as Elon was launching 60 satellites, there was a solar burst that took 40 of them out of the sky. Think about that. And that's called the Starlink system. And that all of that is about controlling us. Everything we do, our money, everything else, down to our thoughts. This is how it's going to end. It says, "For behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, yea, and all that do wickedly." How many do we see doing that now? "They shall be stubble, and the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith the Lord of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch." No kids coming, no posterity from it, no memory of the past, but unto you that fear my name, and that word is revere, not fear, shall the Son, S-U-N, of righteousness arise with healing in his wings, and you shall go forth and grow up as calves of the stall. Same as in the book of Revelation, the parable of the tares. I think it's Revelation, maybe I'm wrong. It says that the tare shall be plucked and bound for the fire, but the wheat, the good seed, shall be gathered for my barn. Just like they shall grow up as the calves of the stall. And you shall tread down the wicked, for they shall be ashes under the sole of your feet in that day that I shall do this, said the Lord of hosts. Why will they be ashes? "Remember ye the law of Moses my servant, which I commanded unto him in Horeb for all of Israel, with the statutes and the judgments. Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord." You want to know who one of the witnesses are? He just told you. "And he shall turn the heart of the fathers to the children, and the heart of the children to the fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse." And guys, we've seen a lot of separation of the families lately. A disagreement on whether it's politics, war, the V. You know what I'm saying? There's been a lot of division. But here we're talking about Shemesh, the son. Look up Shemesh, Shemesh. Look it up. It'll tell you it's talking about our star, not the Son of God. And look at the sun waking up now as we're seeing the world go into World War III and beyond. We're watching it, guys. You watch it. It's a heads up. Be safe.